I was 24. I was with a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy, right? I didn't want a really nice guy when I was 24, right? And so I ended things. I went back on the scene. I mean, things worked out. I got married, I had a baby. But relatively speaking, I don't think I'm going to go back to someone who cheated on me. But a lot of people say that, and then they go back anyway.
I feel like it's a conflict between your heart and your mind.
Sometimes you come to the realization that what that person was is exactly what you needed.
In those kind of situations, when you still have love for somebody, you're always going to go back.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about, realistically, why you shouldn't be dating your ex, or maybe you should, and the odds on it. But before we even get into that, let's go ahead and introduce our very special guest, Miss Allison.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Allison. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Tell them where they can find you at.
You can find me everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, at Align with Allison. I'm a certified dating and relationship coach, and I primarily work with women to help them find and keep the partners that they deserve.
Keyword is keep. How do you become certified? Because, you know, I feel like I definitely qualify at this point in my life.
It's actually a quite easy process. It's just a course that you take. But I do have a master's degree in counseling, so
okay, girl, educated.
There's lots of folks who are online who are giving advice without any kind of certifications or guidance or education or anything of the sort. So, you know, not to toot my own horn, but toot toot.
Yes.
Let's jump right into it. So how do you feel, Miss Special Guest, about dating an ex, the odds, and or should you do or should you not?
I get this question all the time. A lot of people are afraid of the dating scene. They feel as though it's only piss in the pool or whatever the expression is. You can date an ex. You can go back. It just needs to be reasonable. So the first question is, why did you guys break up? Is it clear as to why the breakup happened? And then once you know why, is it rectified? So, example, you and your boyfriend were together. He got a job opportunity in California. You guys didn't want to have a long distance relationship. You break up. 6 months later, he returns back to the tri-state area. It's all good. There was a problem. We know what it was. It's now resolved so that you can give it a second chance. But whatever your problem was, if you don't even know exactly what the issue was, and therefore you can't fix it, what is the purpose of going or doing it again? It's not reasonable. Right. So again, it can be done, but at the same time, it needs to be something that can be fixed, and it needs to be fixed before you do it again.
I think that makes sense, though.
That was cut and clean.
Yeah, it's just like if we know why it didn't work out and it's something that can be worked on and fixed, then why can't we give it another try? And now if it's something where there's cheating involved or something like that, then it's just like, I think that I know who you are as a person because I know you to be a cheater, so therefore I'm not going to trust you again to want to go back to you.
There's like variables with different situations. I feel like, okay, maybe after some time, you could get over it. I feel like you could get past the hurt and want to be with that person. You still love that person. They just did something that wronged you. So you could go back. There's potential for you to go back. I think that the only problem with going back is, have you really moved on? Have you really got over that hurt? Are you giving a genuine second chance?
I don't think I want to go back to anybody who cheated on me. I don't want to feel the pain of that again. So therefore, for me personally, that's just my feelings. I don't think I'm going to go back to someone who cheated on me.
I get that, and I respect it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people say that, not you, but a lot of people say that, and then they go back anyway. Yeah. So I think it's important that we take some time to talk about what circumstances could allow for someone to go back to an ex who cheated. I liked what you said, Amanda, about like, are you over it? Can you move on? But at the same time, more importantly, is that person not going to wrong you again? Right. And what can you do to relatively confirm that they have changed as a person? Have they gone through therapy? What was the reason behind the change? Who were they cheating with? Is this an ex? Is that person still pursuing them? Or is it still in the picture? Were they high? Were they drunk? Like, what were the circumstances that led to that? And is there any change in that human being? More important than me moving on, but I need evidence that this person is not going to function in the same way that they functioned before.
First and foremost, I think that there's a 90% of the times you should never go back to an ex. Given the situations that we use as examples, I don't think any of them qualify for you to go back. If I get a better job and it's something to further my life and I have to move across the country and you're not willing to move with me, that just goes to show that we don't have loyalty within us. So therefore, I don't want you back. And I hope that you don't come back. You know what I'm saying? I also do think that the only time that you really should take an ex back if it's a real, right? situation, wrong time. Right situation, wrong time could be you guys are clicking on all cylinders, but you guys are both struggling, so your struggles are actually making you guys not be able to focus on your relationship. Majority of times, I realize that people love to take the easy way out in life.
Indeed.
And so is going back to your ex, right? More often than not, there was a reason why you guys didn't work, and that reason was justifiable for you to leave.
At the time.
Now, what ends up happening is a lot of people go back to their ex for the wrong reason: comfort, failure, and discouragement. The problem with that is these are all hindering things of your own self. Really, a lot of those things that you need, a lot of those things stem from things that you should really correct in yourself. You should actually be more encouraged. You should be more confident. You should actually attract something that's going to hopefully be better for you.
So, another thing is, in fact, time. For me, I don't want to go back and now give you more of my time, because if you waste my time again, that means that I could be missing out on dating somebody else that could actually be a successful relationship with me. People should just value their time more and just, take the time that you do have to experience another situation that might work out.
I believe that a lot of people will go back to their ex because they refuse to grow or change themselves. Their exes are the only people that they've encountered that could accept them for who they were at that point in space and mentality that they possess at that moment for however long that relationship was. So if you can say, hey, you know what? I'm a different me. I really don't think that a 35-year-old version and a 25-year-old version of yourself should coexist, right? They should never be the same. So now if you dated somebody at 25 and now you're trying to rekindle this at 35, the fact that you are able to rekindle just shows a lack of growth on both of your parts,
However,
in my opinion.
I hear you, but what I would imagine is that both parties should be dating again. So it shouldn't be an issue of it's been 10 years, so let's just jump right back in as if we were together all this time. It should be, hi, my name is Allison, how are you? And who are you? And let's get to know each other again, and let's date again. There should be no assumption that we're going to jump right back in for where we ended, because very eloquently you said, we're not the same people. And if you are the same person, you got bigger fish to fry than worrying about dating somebody again, right? Like you got bigger issues than a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's like, I need to be working on me. I need to go back to school. I need to go to therapy, something that a lot of folks don't tackle. And there's no shame in going to therapy. But if you are not growing as a human being, there's something that's intervening that you potentially need help to fix.
Yeah. The survey that they did in UK, which is not, a vast majority, it was about 1,000 people that they surveyed. The stat was 50% of them that do double back in an ex relationship actually have another failed relationship with their ex. We also did describe over here or list over here that 67% of even second marriages fail. And that's just remarrying even outside of your previous marriage.
Right.
So I want to throw this over to Amanda and ask her what is her take and or opinions on these things, or anything insight that she can have.
Well, I have a statistic here. This is for 2023, though. It says 7 out of 10 singles, they admit to planning to return to their ex after realizing that the grass isn't greener on the other side, which means that they left their relationship to pursue something else. This is where the variables, it depends on like why you left the relationship, right? Sometimes you were interested in somebody else, or maybe there was a problem that occurred in your relationship and you thought maybe somebody else can treat you better. But I feel like in those kind of situations, when you still have love for somebody, you're always going to go back.
Yeah. We live in like an instant gratification.
That's what I was going to say.
Like lifeline. Like that's where we are right now. So lots of folks don't want to go and try something new. Lots of folks don't want to take the risk. So we want to go back to an ex. Like I said, I'm the number one proponent of giving it a chance if it's reasonable. But this is just laziness. This is just laziness. They talk about the dating scene being so terrible. It's really nowhere near as bad as the internets make it seem. Social media makes it seem like there's like no quality human beings. I count 4 right here. Right? So clearly there are good people out there. But there's this idea of I want it now, I want it fast, or I'm about to be 30 and I need to be married because my friends are married. I need to have kids because my friends are having kids, and oh, woe is me. So a lot of this has a lot to do, I think, more with like personal shortcomings than it has to do with the actual dating scene being that difficult. It's really not that bad.
Getting a relationship is not that hard. For a man or a woman, I think people like to complicate life, and life is extremely simple. If you want what you want, you need to know how to be what you want wants. Okay? If you don't want to do that, you're not going to get it. It's a simple result. And if you think you are doing it and you're not getting the results, that means you're not doing it right. So now that means you have to reassess, regroup, and revisit.
As you should be doing by the time you're 40.
Well, by the time you're whatever age, I don't care if you're 25. Realistically, there is no excuse for an adult who is old enough to drink and put poison in their body to not have the cognitive function to understand who they want to be and what they want to attract. It doesn't matter your age. There's 25-year-olds who are more wise than 45-year-olds and vice versa. At the end of the day, it's all about understanding life. We talked about this, the degree. The main degree that you should want to have is a degree on life.
So you don't think there are any circumstances in which someone has worked on themselves, they're realistic in what they want out of a partner, but there really isn't anyone around them or in their circle that would be interested in being with them?
I would say that there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But I would say that that person is either lacking something, not understanding something, or missing something, or what they want is really not for them. See, I've learned to understand that rejection is your protection. So if what you want is not finding you, then maybe that's not what you actually need. So what you should start to understand is, what are you attracting? Why are you attracting it? Maybe you're attracting people who are Captain Save-A-Hos because you really need to be saved. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need in your life at that moment. I don't believe life misguides you. I believe we misguide ourselves.
So let me tell you my theory about attraction, which is not a very popular one.
I love it. I love not popular things.
I look at attraction and what you attract as everyone is a light, right? And if you've ever been down south or you've been to the Caribbean, there's lots of insects, different types of insects that are attracted to the light, right?
Moths.
Nice ones, ugly ones, ones with, I don't know, 8 legs, 10 legs, right? And then, right, all different types. And I think what it is that we as people choose which insect we're going to entertain. I don't think that you exist and you only attract bad or you only attract good. I think you attract all. And then us as an individual, we're in control to choose which one of these we're going to entertain.
Right, because we always talk about the types of things that we do and don't like and don't allow and don't accept and oh, I don't like that hair. You got to work out. Or like we talk about so many things. You got to work out. You got to look this way, walk that way, talk this way, have this 6 figures, whatever. And then, that's what our issue is. And that's where we mess up.
So I think everything really starts within us. If you learn to understand yourself, then you'll be like, well, why am I not picking caterpillars and I'm over here picking centipedes? You know what I'm saying? And then the worst part is 10 years later, you go back and you pick another goddamn centipede. In fact, you pick the same centipede that you seen 10 years ago. The caterpillar that you curved is now a butterfly.
Rico, I like what you said about knowing like yourself or like what you want. I feel like it's very important because when you know what you want, then you can go after what you want. And I feel like tying it back to going back to an ex, I feel like it's a conflict between your heart and your mind. Because if you know what you want and you're trying to attract what you want and you're trying to go after what you want, but then like your heart is still like, hey, I want to try to work it out. I want to see if we can get, but that's not.
But sometimes what you want changes. Like you might have been with a good dude at the time. I was 24. I was with a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy, right? I didn't want a really nice guy when I was 24, right? And so I ended things. I went back on the scene. I mean, things worked out. I got married, I had a baby. But relatively speaking, if things didn't work out and I said to myself, you know what, I do want a nice guy. I do want someone who's stable. I do want someone who's loving. Now that I'm older, I'm more reflective. I know you don't believe in older, but
Right.
Now I'm older, I'm more reflective, right? I could say I've now changed my mind and I want to reconsider this. Now, whether or not he wants to give me a second chance, I would say he'd be dumb for doing so. But for me to go back, because I was the one who left, he was a good person, what I wanted has now changed.
Well, what if he wanted change too?
And now he don't want me?
Yeah.
I mean,
It don't be happening. That don't happen.
It's always one-sided, yo. I swear to God.
Well, no, but I was honest. I said, you know, like, he was the one who was mature. He was right. And that's not where I was yet, developmentally, emotionally, whatever. So sometimes you come to the realization that what that person was is exactly what you needed, and that's why you do need to go back again. Whether or not they want to give you a chance is up to them.
No, people are quitters.
Yeah.
People are natural. I feel like more people are programmed to quit in life than they are to continue to push through, and that's why they decide to go back with an ex. It's the comfortable route, and the comfortable route will never be non-existent for anybody. The only problem is it's never going to be fulfilling.
You think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and And then you go back to something that you dated when you were younger, and you kind of realize, again, like you said, that person's mindset didn't necessarily grow over time. Things happen in your life that make you change a little. Things happen in that person's life that makes them change a little more. This time frame has passed, and now the things that have occurred during that time frame have changed the two of you in a certain way. And now you go back into the situation and you guys don't connect as much as you think. Okay, that situation could have worked out, but because of the time that has passed, you guys are not the same, and you think it's going to work out, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way. Now I'm a person that doesn't care for toxicity. I used to be a person that loved it because it was fun. I was young. I didn't have a bigger plan for my future, but now that I'm back with you, the toxicity won't work for me. So therefore, this relationship can't work.
This was one of the things Alan told me, which I thought was like so great, and I've been running with it ever since, right? And this is my take on my analogy on dating an ex, right? So there's a story, an old story where there was a woman who wanted a pig. Okay, this woman wanted a pig, and she was a very rich, wealthy woman. Mm-hmm. She got the pig, she got the baby pig, and she dressed it up in all designer. She put diamonds on it, diamond necklace, everything. She made the pig everything that she wanted, right? And then as she, had the pig, one day it started to rain, right? And she got caught in the rain. Mm-hmm. And the pig almost broke her arm to jump out of her arms so it could run in mud. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the pig is still going to be a pig. It does not matter what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It does not matter what you want to dress it up as. As the same goes and the same rules applies as people. That person is what they are, and it's important to accept what they are, which is most likely, not all the time, but it's most likely the case that they are an ex and not a current.
It seems like oh, people are who they are. Like the pig is who they are. Accept the pig or don't accept the pig. How about we blame the woman for being foolish enough to believe that she could
dress
could
wear Gucci?
No, that's what I'm blaming.
Okay,
or not just the woman, but that woman in an analogy.
Yes.
I'm blaming the person to not understand that you can't make anybody be what you want them to be. Right. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much power you have. I don't care how much popularity you have. You can't make somebody be what you want them to be. You could date a girl, you could be a guy, you could date this girl because she's beautiful, but guess what? She's not a wife. And you can't make her be a wife. You're a woman, you're dating this guy, right? And he's just an asshole, and you want a gentleman. He can't be a gentleman. And you got to understand that instead of trying to mold and change people and give people every reason to change, you just got to give yourself every reason to move on. If I had to take a poll, right, and this is just an educated guess stat, I would say 80% of people who left their ex and doubled back to their ex is because they thought that they can qualify for something bigger or better, and they don't. And so they realized that what they thought their market value was and what they thought they could obtain, they can't. So now they're trying to go back to where they technically belong. But like you said before, that doesn't mean that person is going to accept you back, especially if your ex has now climbed the charts and now they're above where you met them and you're still at the same spot where you left them. I think it's important if you're going to leave somebody, you need to make sure that you understand that you're going to come back. If you ever decide to revisit, you have to be a better version of you. You have to be a more established version of yourself. You have to be a more, equipped, whether it be assets and or wisdom, knowledge, whatever it may be. You have to have more attributes than you actually left with when you try to double back. If you try to double back and even if you're making more money but you're still the same person, you're still the same person. You know what I'm saying? So those are just my tips.
Unless money was the issue, which for the case of marriage and divorce, they say that that's the number one reason why people separate.
I want to go back and I want to tie both of your points together when you were referring to, men being able to step out of their relationship because he is the sole provider or whatever the case may be. Historically, that was the norm, right? And I want to tie that into what's happening right now in terms of doubling back, right? Some people double back after the infidelity has happened in the original relationship. You know why? Because it takes an actual conscious, aware person to understand that being unfaithful does not mean you're being disloyal. If I'm still doing everything that I was doing for you, okay? If I come home and I make you happy, if I take care of home, I take care of kids, I do everything, I'm the workhorse, but you caught me stepping outside, that doesn't mean I was disloyal. That means I was unfaithful.
I agree.
I still never stopped doing the things that I promised to provide for us. And I still never stopped, making you unhappy. Granted, if you are doing, stepping out because there is an unhappiness, that's way different.
I'm gonna just go on a tangent a little bit. Sorry.
I love it.
But
thought-provoking.
Now, when you're with a woman, right? She's doing a lot of things to bring. When you're with a woman that you love, obviously she's bringing a lot of things to the table that you obviously need and desire. So if she steps out on you, you once said that you won't take that woman back. Why?
That's not what I've ever said. Actually, in fact, I love correcting people. In fact, the way I actually got my job at 8 at the table, the way I got my job at 8 at the table was saying that if I was doing it, especially if I was doing it as well, I got to charge it to the game. And I realized that life, first of all, I stepped out in other relationships. So if I'm in a good relationship, and most men are probably going to deny it, but I realize that most men are just going to deny it to themselves. Mm-hmm. If you're in a good relationship with a woman and she steps out on you and she was still doing everything that she needed to do, granted, it depends on how she steps out. If she built the relationship, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. We're talking about like maybe a girl's trip. She fuck around and fuck Drake. I'm going to be mad.
I think I did. I do remember you saying, okay.
I'm going to be like, yo, I got to charge it to the game. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happens. Bitch. You know what I'm saying? But if you go out and you go get a Pico and not a Rico, then we have an issue. Like, you're not gonna go below this. Nah, I know you're just desperate. Okay. You know, but that was just to clarify.
But back to your point though, about the loyalty, disloyalty, unfaithfulness. So that is so key. When I work with my clients, I ask them, what do you want? Like the notebook, like, what do you want? Yeah. And many times people use this term of, I want someone who's loyal. And that's not the word that they actually, I'm like, let's Google it. Like, are we sure that the words that you are using and the attributes that you're looking for is actually descriptive of what you want? And that's exactly it. Like, I want someone who's faithful. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then that's a different animal. So I agree with you 100% in that regard. Back to your comment, though, of how many times are we going to accept the unfaithfulness? Like, what are the circumstances? Like you said, the Drake versus the Pico. Like, what are the circumstances that are, I didn't want to use that word, but
it is what it is,
like, acceptable? And then also in your case, you said charge it to the game if you were doing dirt, if you weren't doing the dirt.
No, I'm talking about even previously.
Yeah,
I've already did my, listen, karma is coming. I don't know how she's coming, but if it coming, like, well, I guess this is what I deserve. This is what happens.
Right. So you just want to just deal with it.
I know what I was, listen, I know everything that I did in my life. It wasn't the most reasonable, right? But, you see the foot tap?
I do think that disloyalty and unfaithfulness can go hand in hand, though. Yeah. Because you're unfaithful, but still be loyal to me. Like, I understand what Rico was saying, like, he's still doing all of these things, but what are you telling this side bitch? Like, what are you telling this girl that you're cheating? Are you saying, like, my wife at home is a piece of shit, like, oh, she's so annoying, blah, blah, blah? You're disloyal. Yes. Mm-hmm. But if you be like, I'm fucking you, but I love my wife. Like, I'm not leaving her. This is not like we're not going to be in a relationship. Like, I love her. I'm going back. That is loyal. How you talk about
that's me right there.
How you talk about me behind my back is you being loyal to me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that goes. And they
love it. They love it. Women love that. It's sickening.
Ew.
Women love. If you tell a girl, no way, yo, listen, we about to mess
I'll be loyal.
We about to mess around, but I'm telling you right now, I love my girl. Do not fuck my shit up. Some women would be like, wow.
Don't even talk
I want that.
Yes.
Like, I want that too. Like, no matter what.
Right now, but don't be talking shit about my girl.
No, yeah. What? I will fight you. Like, we can fuck. You better not talk shit about my wife. Like, but women love that because at the end of the day, this is what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I could be in my own space.
And that's what we have to marry, guys. That's what we have. That's what, like, somebody that's going to tell me, like, I'm going to cheat on you, but I had your back.
No,
like,
I'm not saying this is what we should want, but I'm just trying to
it's the reality.
Let them know how
I'd rather be alone.
Loyalty.
You know how many?
I would rather be alone.
You wouldn't rather be alone. You'd rather be lied to. See, that's the thing. There's so much infidelity. And, for a long time, even here at 8 at the table, I fought to not say normalize infidelity, normalizing the act of cheating. Mm-hmm. But guess what? It is more normal than it is unnormal. And we need to start to embrace it. And there's some people who need to actually be like, yo, you know what? Cheating on me isn't a full deal breaker, depending on how many times it happens.
Okay, fine.
No, but if you that and I got cursed, don't let me find out.
Okay, fine.
You said that what?
Literally, it was reposted today where I said that. I said that on a podcast before, that I said, I am married, right? I am legally married to my husband. And if he cheated on me one time, and again, depending on the circumstances, that I might not necessarily divorce him. And the thing is that most women, and I would even say people, would say the same thing. thing, but they don't want to say it aloud because it's awkward or it's embarrassing. A lot of folks, I'm not doing 50-50 with a man because then that means we're roommates. And most of those bitches is doing 50-50. They just don't want to say it aloud because the expectation is that as a woman, these are the standards you should have. And people are lying, and they're lying because of social media. They're lying because of pressures. They're lying because of society. 9 times out of 10, folks are forgiving their wives, even though men will not admit it. And they are forgiving their husbands, even though they don't want to admit it. They are.
Is it that relationships get like boring maybe, or there's not enough sex in the relationship? Like, what is it that makes people decide, all right, you know, like, because in that case, why even be in a relationship if that part is just not fulfilling?
I think that there's something that's lacking in the relationship, and I would even venture out to say that it's not even necessarily the quality of sex or the quantity of sex with their actual partner. It's not even that. I think sometimes people don't feel seen. They don't feel appreciated. It's the attention that this new person offers. A lot of times, especially if you speak to women, they don't even intend on the sexual act. They don't even intend, like, they don't even care about actually having sex with this outside person. It's the phone calls. It's the text messages. It's the compliments. It's the gifts. It's the dates that are more attractive. And then by default, eventually, like, well, I might as well have sex because that's the direction we're going in. But it's not even about the sexual act many times.
So there's been possible times that you considered doubling back to an ex. What was the one thing that was pulling you back personally into that old relationship?
Just the vibe.
Loneliness.
Damn.
Just the vibe.
I'm just.
Oh, the loneliness.
It was, my heart wasn't aching to go back.
I don't get loneliness.
Like, I didn't like miss him that bad, but I was just like, all right, I'm real bored. But he not even texting me no more. Like, all right, I'm gonna text him. Let's see what's up.
A lot of
Let me see
times
if he
our
missed me.
partners be our best friends. Like, we talk every single day, multiple times a day. Like, you miss your best friend. So it's not even an issue of that person being the shit, but it's like, damn, like, I didn't get a text this morning. Like, no one asked me if I ate today. That's what you miss. It's like you miss relationship shit, not necessarily that person. Like, anyone could have been in that slot, but now I don't have nobody who's going to talk to me while I drive home. I don't have anybody to complain about my job to. Like, just missing that engagement.
Everybody needs a friend. I think more that's what it is. Everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs someone to vent to, someone to talk to, someone to, you know, complain to, whatever. And I think that's when you have somebody that's there all day. You guys can, you know, you can complain about everything.
So you ladies never wanted to go back to an ex.
But see, I think I was more busy because I don't even remember like feeling lonely. Like, oh, I want to just talk to somebody because I'm lonely. I'm just like, I can't even really remember ever being like, oh, I'm so lonely, I hate it here. I don't know, like, so my question is, that I just personally can't really.
None of you ever was like, hey, maybe I might want to consider giving my ex a second chance or a second stab at it because they were a good person?
I mean, good person doesn't mean good relationship.
Well, they were a good person and maybe you did have a good relationship. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, did you have a good relationship that, you know, met some type of obstacles that, you know, led you to split up, and then maybe you know, like, thought about, like, you should give another stab at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I told you there's one situation, yeah, but I just...
Because you said the vibe, but what is the vibe? Like, what was the vibe that made you say, hey, I should give this another chance?
We had a good mindset together. We both had the same, like, goals, and we felt like we, you know, together we were just, like, we complimented each other. Even when we would go outside, we would always get compliments, like, oh, my God, you guys look great together, you know? Like, that shit feels good. You know, you're with someone, you work out together, you have the same goals, you want to go certain places like together, you know, you have a similar mindset, and in a way that makes you be like, yo, I miss that. I miss being with someone that gets me.
Let's start with the ladies, okay?
We're starting with who?
The ladies.
Wow.
In terms of delusionality. I just made that word up. It sounds good. Okay?
Delusionality.
It sounds good, right?
Can we get it like a written out right there? Delusionality.
Delusionality. All right, man.
It's not reality.
You gotta put it now.
One of the biggest issues, salary. The expectation that their man or the gentleman that they're dating should be making this six figure number, okay? Now, we're in the tri-state area, so I understand the desire to want to be with someone who's making six figures because you kind of just need that in order to function, right? But this expectation that that's what someone should be earning in order for them to be worthy of you is impractical, and I'm going to tell you why. That they could lose their job in any given moment. So if you're giving someone a chance based on how much money that they make, and tomorrow they are unemployed and homeless or whatever it is, then you're now stuck with the dude who's unemployed or homeless because you only mess with him because of how much money he made. Secondly, it's not about how much money you make, it's how you manage it. Somebody could be the top cardiologist at a hospital making $400,000 and they own 10 cars and they have 4 houses that they're underwater and they're paying child support and alimony and they're broke every week. So looking at a specific figure as a measure of whether or not you should date someone is problematic and it's not going to work. So that's one of the biggest issues that I see with the ladies. Secondly, with the ladies, height. In what world does someone's height dictate how well they're going to treat you or how good of a husband or father they're going to be? There's nothing about that man's height that's going to make him a better human being. So, and again, I'm not saying that you should be dating folks who are necessarily like super shorter than you, but you're 5'2" and he has to be 6 feet. Why?
Yeah,
why? It's unreasonable. Even in your tallest heels, he's still going to be taller than you. And I understand generally the idea is the taller the man, the bigger the man, the more likely he is to protect you. It's more animalistic than it is like reality, but still. Impractical. The gentleman. There's this desire to have a woman who has this very particular physique, especially for black women, right? Usually bigger titties, smaller waist, flat stomach. However, usually the women who look like that are going to have higher expectations than what that man can afford. And it's not nice to say, but if she's getting tons of attention and she's this really beautiful woman with this amazing physique, then that means that usually she's going to date the kinds of guys who do have the 6 figures, who are taller, right? Who are more seemingly attractive. You probably can't afford the lifestyle that she's going to ask for. So it's unrealistic to have this, I want a woman that has this body, or I want a woman who looks like this. And we're not looking at her personality. We're not looking at her behavior. We're not looking at her traits. And then you're surprised when she's an airhead, or you're surprised when she's a bitch. Well, that's what you wanted. That's what you got. So you're going to do what you deserve. Thoughts? I know it's mad quiet.
Well, first of all, I want to say, I have no sympathy for men who date women based on the social status of beauty, or social standard of beauty, I should say, and find themselves getting used. I have no sympathy for them. You were a fool to begin with. There's a lot of men with money that go for the top-notch beautiful woman because they're just seeking worldly validation. They don't even really want her. They want the validation that comes with her. And I just think that, they're fools. And I've been trying to tell them to stop doing this tricking shit because if they stop doing this tricking shit, then they'll get the girl that really likes them.
I feel like the girls with this physique, it's paid for. It's paid for, that's one. So I feel like it shouldn't be surprising to know that this type of woman needs to be spent on. Airheads specifically, I'm not sure about all of that because I don't really feel like
they're airheads, I tell you, specifically.
But I mean, a woman has to have some kind of brains in order to, I don't know, obtain this kind of man. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they have a plan and they know what they're doing.
There's a lot of guys who would take a girl who knows nothing about herself, knows nothing about life, and they'll say, okay, I want you to look like this. Let me put some titties on you. Let me go ahead and give you lipo. And she is just saying, yes, 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 yes. So when I realized that women could go ahead and put themselves through surgery to get, something that they claim that they want or their partner wants, and then get depressed about it, I now realize that it's not just women manipulating men. Some men are actually manipulating women to build them into the woman that they want them to look like. And some women are just foolish enough to say, okay, and truly don't even want to get underneath the knife.
So for the guys, right, something else that is problematic and is causing a lot of conflict in their relationships. There are a lot of gentlemen who want a traditional girlfriend, wife, what have you, right? They want a woman who's going to be at home, who is going to do those traditional things, child rearing, cooking, cleaning, all that good stuff. So this idea that you want a woman who's going to stay at home, who's going to fulfill these duties as you see fit, but then also expecting that woman to contribute equally financially in the household is impractical. I feel like it needs to be one way or the other. If we're splitting it 50-50 in terms of finances, we need to split 50-50 in terms of the child rearing, the home keeping, and all that good stuff. You can't have it both ways.
Men got to get out of this mindset that they don't have to be present for their kids just because that they're paying the bills. I don't care about what your job is doing. Your family comes first, whether that be your wife or your daughter or your son. Your family comes first, and they all need time. And I think it's unfortunate that men use work as an scapegoat to take care of the responsibilities that they brought into this world.
Honestly, I was going to say the same thing. Like, I'm grateful enough to have a man that is like, I'm going to be involved in my son's life and make sure that when I come home, all right, you're dealing with the kid. Like you just said, your woman's cooking. So I'm going to make sure that the kid is not, my child is not running over, like stopping what you've got going on. And again, that relieves so much stress on me because I'm just like, all right, cool. Like now I have a chance to take care of this or whatever. But when you have so many things going on, that's where the stress comes in. And that's where it's like, okay, well, I mean, everybody has to participate because if not, that's what's going to be detrimental to the relationship.
What was your most difficult situation with one of your clients? If you can tell us some insight on that.
That's an excellent question. So I had a client. She's happily married. She got married in Miami. So I'm very happy about that back in December. But before she got married, when she joined the program, she was looking to learn how to navigate dating successfully. She had been unsuccessful, relationships weren't sticking, and so that's the work that she wanted to do. And she was my most difficult client because she did not believe that she was worthy of a loving, fulfilling relationship. That's it. She didn't believe. As long as you don't believe you are deserving, you're absolutely right, you're not. Because you're not going to put yourself in a position to meet people, to start dating, to be open, to believe when someone says, I like you, I want to see you again. No, you don't. You're just saying that, right? Again, she's from Miami, so she says, I'm a black girl in Miami. I don't have my body done. I'm dark skinned. You have these Hispanic girls, you have these chicks who have their bodies done, and so no one's going to like me, and no one's going to pick me, and no one's going to choose me. So she was my most difficult client because she believed that she was not worthy. I had to work on just teaching her that you are worthy of love and commitment, and you are desirable. Then we could start talking about which dating apps are a good app and what do you write on your profile and what questions do you ask. But again, as long as you don't believe you're worthy, it's going to be hell for you to date successfully.
So can you give us, for any woman out there who feels like they're unworthy, what is a tip or some advice that you could give them to start to find the worth for themselves?
So 2 things. Number 1, therapy. People are afraid of therapy. They think it's a curse word. It has such a negative connotation, especially in the Black community. Whatever it is that's causing you to have this low self-confidence, it could be traumas from childhood, whatever it is, you need help to be able to reflect, to figure it out what it is. No offense, listening to podcasts or whatever it is that you think that you're going to be able to figure out on your own, you haven't figured out yet. You 30, you 40, you haven't figured it out. Look to someone who is a professional, who can help, who can guide, who can support. So that would be number 1. And then number 2, a little bit more practical, is I look at it as, has anyone else reached this goal? So do I know anyone else who's in a happy relationship? Do I know anyone else who is fulfilled? Do I know anyone else who's married or whatever it is, financially sound? If I know one person who's been able to achieve this goal, if they did it, I can do it too. What is the difference between them and me? If I know them, I have access to them. If they could do it, I can do it.
So Allison, go ahead. Before we actually sign off for today, tell them where they can find you.
Yes, on every social media platform at Align with Allison.
It was great having you here. Jada, Amanda, you were great as well. Hey, everybody, I just want to say thank you for tuning in and tapping in with 8 at the table, and we will see you next time.